Two Nigerians can leave the same country, arrive the same foreign city with similar degrees, similar dreams, and similar opportunities. Yet 10 years later, one has built stability, confidence, financial progress, strong network, and a meaningful life abroad. Well, while the other is still struggling emotionally, financially, professionally, and mentally. And the question is, why? Why do some Nigerians succeed abroad while others remain trapped in survival mode for years? Because if we are honest, many immigrants arrive abroad believing one dangerous assumption that once I leave Nigeria, everything will automatically improve. But life abroad does not just reward movement alone. It rewards preparation, adaptability, communication, emotional intelligence, strategic thinking, and the ability to evolve under pressure. And that is the part many people underestimate because migration is not just a change of location, it is a complete psychological transition. It tests your confidence, your discipline, your mindset, your emotional control, your identity, your ability to survive uncertainty without collapsing internally, which is why some immigrants rise and others slowly break under pressure. And after living in the United Kingdom for over 25 years, working in law, studying system and coaching, communication and confidence, and watching immigrants' journey closely, I've realized something very profound. The difference between immigrants who thrive abroad and those who struggle endlessly is often not intelligence. It is mindset, habit adaptability, and strategic behavior under pressure. Because I have met Nigeria abroad with impressive qualifications, yet they remain stuck for years. At the same time, I have met immigrants with fewer advantages who quietly built stable, successful life because they understood something very powerful. Success abroad is rarely accidental. And one of the first mistakes many immigrants make is arriving abroad physically without preparing mentally. Because many people relocate geographically, yet carry the same fear, insecurity, poor habits, emotional instability, and survival thinking into their new environment. And eventually, those internal struggles begin affecting everything externally. Their confidence weakens, their communication suffers, their relationship deteriorates. The opportunity reduces, and slowly they begin surviving abroad instead of building, thriving abroad. Because here is the difficulty, the truth many people avoid. The country changed, but their mindset did not. And that becomes dangerous because systems abroad reward value differently. In many developed countries, nobody cares where you came from emotionally. They respond to competence, communication, consistency, professionalism, reliability, emotional intelligence, and your ability to solve problems effectively, which means immigrants who adapt strategically often rise faster, while immigrants who refuse to evolve remains frustrated. And unfortunately, some Nigeria arrive abroad expecting life to function emotionally the same way it does back home in Nigeria. But abroad, many systems are highly structured, opportunities are competitive, and excuses are punished quietly. Nobody may insult you directly. But if your communication is poor, if your emotional control is weak, if your professionalism is inconsistent, if your mindset remains limited, you can remain stuck for years without understanding why. And this is where many immigrants suffer silently because they mistake movement for progress. But movement alone is not transformation. You can travel thousands of miles, yet still remain trapped emotionally or mentally. And perhaps the biggest hidden struggle many immigrants face is identity shock because abroad fo- forces many people to confront realities they never expected. For some people, it is the first time nobody knows their family name, the first time status disappear, the first time they feel invisible, the first time they experience rejection repeatedly, the first time their confidence genuinely get tested. And if a person has not built internal stability, that pressure can break them emotionally, which is why some immigrants slowly lose confidence abroad. Not because they lack potential, but because they never psychologically adjusted to the pressure of rebuilding themselves. And unfortunately, social media hide most of this reality because online everybody looks successful, everybody looks happy, everybody appears financially stable. But behind the closed doors, many immigrants are exhausted, working endlessly, battling loneliness, sending money home while struggling privately, questioning why the sacrifice was worth it, trying to survive between two worlds without fully belonging to either. And this is why emotional intelligence matters enormously abroad. Because success abroad is not merely academic, it is emotional, relational, strategic, and psychological, which is why communication becomes one of the most powerful skills immigrants can develop. Because many Nigerians are intelligent but struggle to position themselves effectively within the foreign system. So people know their profession but cannot communicate value confidently. Some have skill but lack networking ability. Some are educated but emotionally reactive under pressure. Some work hard but never think strategically. And eventually, hard work without strategic adaptation creates frustration because effort alone is not enough. Another difficult truth many immigrants must understand is this: survival thinking destroys long term success. Because when somebody operates constantly from fear, they stop thinking strategically. They become reactive instead of intentional. And over time, fear quietly limits their growth. Fear of rejection, fear of failure, fear of speaking confidently, fear of taking opportunities, fear of leaving their comfort zone, fear of evolving professionally. And sadly, many talented immigrants slowly shrink themselves abroad because internally they still feel inferior. But confidence abroad is not built through wishing, it is built through competence, preparation, communication, execution, and repeated exposure to uncomfortable growth. Which is why the immigrants who often succeed abroad are not necessarily the loudest. They are usually the most adaptable, the most emotionally disciplined, the most strategic, the most consistent, and the most willing to evolve. They learn system, they improve communication, they use new network, they develop professionalism, they think long term, they adapt culturally without losing identity. And most importantly, they stop seeing themselves merely as survival. They begin seeing themselves as builders. because survival mentality asks, how do I escape pressure? But growth mentality asks, how do I build stability, influence, confidence, opportunity despite pressure? And that difference changes everything, which is why this channel exists, because Niger Diaspora Connect is not merely about relocation, it is about transformation. It's about helping people abroad think better, adapt better, communicate better, and build better lives globally. I am Dr. Chris Aniche, a qualified solicitor and advocate, a PhD holder in law, and a public speaking and communication coach, founder of SS Public Speaking Academy, and someone who deeply understands the realities of rebuilding life under pressure abroad. And through this platform, we will continue having honest conversations about immigrant success psychology, financial growth abroad, communication and confidence, family stability, identity and leadership, emotional resilience, diaspora reality, and how Nigerians globally can build successful, meaningful lives without losing themselves in the process. And because the goal is not merely to leave Nigeria, the goal is to succeed after you leave. The goal is to build confidence, stability, strong families, financial progress, mental strength, global excellence, and meaningful legacy. Because Nigerians were not born merely to survive abroad, they were born to build, to lead, to rise globally. And so, if you're tired of empty motivation, tired of unrealistic Java fantasies, and ready for honest strategy, subscribe to this channel. Because if you're ready for honest strategy, conversation that genuinely prepare Nigerians for success abroad, then subscribe to Niger Diaspora Connect right now. Join the community and share this video with someone struggling silently abroad. Before part of this movement, focus is not merely on escaping hardship, but on building stability, confidence, and influence and long term success globally. Because the future belongs to the immigrants who are prepared mentally, emotionally, strategically, and professionally, not just physically. And together we rise.